Good morning. So today I'll be telling you how I suspected autism. And it's going to be a really quick version of it. I'll tell a longer version in the webinar. So my son was about 2 years old, and a social worker that I used to see at the time suggested that I do early intervention. And the reason is because she felt he wasn't saying enough words. And in my mind, I'm just like, okay, my son is good. So I never followed through, or I never actually picked up the phone to make the referral because, of course, she left that in my hands. So I believe like maybe a few months later, she asked me, hey, did you ever follow through? And I'm like, no, I didn't do it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it this time. So I did. I picked up the phone and I scheduled the appointment. So they came to my house. They did what they had to do in evaluating my child. And then I had to go to the center for we went to the center for further evaluation, and after everything was done, I was informed that he did not qualify for services. So at that time, I didn't make a big deal out of it. You know, life just went on. But maybe about when he was 3 or 4 years old, he just started doing a lot of different things. And one of them in the beginning that I noticed was that the tantrums were kind of out of hand. They were out of control. I could not handle him. I could not control him. Nothing was working. And, you know, that's like the big thing that was like, okay, something is a little off. And then there were other things that were going on. So my dishes were getting broken. He broke like 4 or 5 tablets. You know, tablet is something that's supposed to bring a child joy, but you're breaking them. And, you know, just hitting himself, throwing himself on the floor. These kind of behaviors he was exhibiting. So finally, something in me said, hey, look, something is off. And I believe that same week, the school called me and they wanted to have a meeting with me. And I'm just like, okay. So they were telling me about kind of the behaviors in school. And I'm just like, okay. And the behaviors at home were still going on, and life was just going on. Like I never thought anything. So then I believe when he graduated from pre-K, that same week he started banging his head on the bathtub, and I'm just like, okay, that's a bit much. And by the third day, you know, he had a gash across his head, which I had to take him to the emergency room to get stitches. And that's when I said, you know what, let me go see what's up. So I went to a clinic. I didn't even have an appointment, but I was like, look, I need to see somebody like now. My son is doing this. I need to know what's going on. So the psychologist, she wasn't a psychiatrist, but she had enough knowledge of the symptoms to know. She had enough knowledge of the symptoms to have a general idea of what was going on with my son. So that's when the word Asperger's was introduced. And I was just like, Asperger's, what's that? And Asperger's is basically high functioning autism. Now, in these days and times, the DSM did change, and in the DSM-5, you will not find the term Asperger's. So what they did is they classified high functioning autism, low functioning autism. They classified it all as ASD disorder. But so even though Asperger's is not used in the DSM-5, a lot of people still use that term because it's very popular. So that's when autism was introduced into my world. So in this slide, I will be having a webinar on April 28th, and I want you all to be there. And it's called From Suspecting to Accepting. And in this webinar, I'm going to break down the top 4 emotions that parents face when they are, when they just hear their child's diagnosis. I will share with you what has worked for me when managing the stress and emotions of my son's diagnosis in day-to-day life. I will also provide you with 3 powerful and effective ways to cope with the mental and emotional issues that is common for parents with children on the autism spectrum, especially in the early days. And I will provide you with the best resource available now to help you get the support, encouragement, advice, and community you need so that your child can continue to thrive every single day.